Hello, it's a small request here. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while again. First I have to tell this little story about the birth of this video. Yesterday I was in a very good mood and the sun was shining, and I decided to go to the woods and record a video. And so I did. I talked my heart out. I tried to be authentic and stuff. And then, when it came to editing, I'm back in my hometown right now, and I forgot my cable, USB cable, back to my old place. And it's not a regular one, it's one of those Nikon's special USB cables, so I couldn't move the video files to the computer. I tried looking for different USBs. I also tried to put the SD card to my mother's camera, which is my old camera, and then plug that to the computer. To no avail. It didn't find those videos that I recorded. Then I went to the store, I bought a cable. It was a wrong one. Then I went to the store again, I bought an SD card reader, and that didn't work. Once I got it working, but I should have kind of formatted the SD card in order for it to work, so that would have removed all of the video files from my SD card. Well, here we are again. I'm here using my old camera, my mother's camera, which doesn't have a turning viewfinder, so I have to just trust my guts that I'm in focus at the moment in the video. But I wanted to share this story just to show my conviction on making this video happen. So here we are, back to the roots, in my old hometown, in a very familiar forest from my old videos from maybe 8 years ago. I moved back to my hometown a week ago. I moved here because I landed a pretty good job. It's in a museum. It's a very famous museum here in Finland, and I'm very happy to be there. The first week went great, and it feels a bliss to just be able to look at the different artworks, old, dating back to 16th century, and then some modern art as well. And there's so many works of art that really speak to me. I wanted to talk a little bit about going back to the roots, the idea behind that sentiment, and what it means to me. I've been gone for around 13 years. 13 years I was living at a different city, and a lot of things happened during that time. All of my adulthood, relationships, different jobs, some school, a lot of knowledge gain, a lot of stupidity, trying things out, failing at stuff, and good times, bad times, as you do. It can be confusing and complicated to get back to your own hometown with all the memories from your childhood and the way I was back then. Getting to reconnect with some people who live here. So many things. So many things have changed. And so many things are the same. Kind of like this forest here. This forest is very familiar from my old videos. The idea of the forest is the same. It's the same location. But everything has grown. There are some paths that have been growing, and I'm trying to say that there are some paths that are not there anymore because a lot of the growth has happened. But then there are new paths made by different people. And I think that's kind of like the idea that I wanted to talk about. Because let's face it, the change is the only lasting thing in world. Looking back to my time living by myself in a different city, it's been a time of metaphorically going in my own psyche. A lot of self-reflection has happened. And I feel like I gathered a lot of insight in life. And like I said, I've made a lot of mistakes too. And sometimes it's hard to face that fact. But now that I'm back here, it's nice to think about how I've changed and how I was back when I was only starting YouTube. Because when I look at some of my very earliest videos, I think that to a degree I had figured it out. A key point in life. Because when I started doing videos, I had no idea what I was doing. I just went to the woods and filmed some videos and talked to the camera. I had no expectations on whether anyone will see it. I had no idea what I'm gonna say in the video. Pretty much the same thing that's happening right now. Except I had the dry run yesterday, so maybe I'm, in all honesty, regurgitating some of the thoughts that I had in my mind yesterday. But I love that version of myself who decided to start an ASMR channel, who just went to the forest and showed his secret locations and talked about random stuff without knowing about anything, pretty much. There's this idea about being a pure fool. I think Wagner's opera Parsifal is a kind of like a symbolic story about that idea, being innocent and pure at heart, pure with your intentions. And the fool, while the word has some negative connotations, I like to think about it more as the card fool in the tarot pack. Meaning that I really don't know what's going to happen. Eventually, when you've done a lot of videos and you started to kind of like create a structure around things, the newness of the experience, the novelty starts to fade out. When I was younger, I was so excited to do videos because I had no idea what's going to happen, like I said. But then I start to have expectations because I know what happened afterwards. And then when you have expectations, they will be either met or not met. When your expectations are not met, you can be saddened about it. It can be disheartening. When they are met, you start to want more of the good things that you received. And it can become this cycle that is pretty depressing, honestly. And it all happens subconsciously. I didn't want to put expectations towards me. And maybe no one ever did put those in like what I'm supposed to do with my channel, for example. But it just happens. And then the novelty wears out. It can become more tiresome and burdensome. And as you've noticed, I haven't really done videos lately anymore. And this is probably a big part of it. Jacques Lacan, he works in psychoanalysis. He has this term called surplus enjoyment. And I really like that idea, and to the extent that I have understood it. But it's pretty much this idea that there lies a surplus enjoyment in the ideas themselves. Because, let me give you an example. Say I want to have a keyboard. When I'm thinking about that keyboard, getting it, there is more there than there is in the actual keyboard itself. And that way there is more enjoyment in the idea of it. And there lies the surplus enjoyment. When I finally get the keyboard, some of the thoughts that I had in mind are kinda dead. And it realizes the expectations, so to say. And a lot of thought processes work this way, from what I've gathered from life. So does that mean that it's bad to dream or even have ideas? Well, no. It just means that there are good and not so good ways of thinking and trying to achieve those goals. One way to look at it is that if I want to, let's say, get better at playing piano, there is no end to getting better. I can always get better and better, and more importantly, enjoy the process. But if I'm focusing on wanting material stuff, different cameras or objectives or keyboards or phones, when I get it, I will eventually want more of new things. So there could be a good and maybe not so good way of thinking about what you want. And now, when I'm back here, in the very familiar forest, I'm back as the person I was. And I am back as the person that I have become, too. I have collected a lot of new knowledge, but still the witness behind the progress is the same. I'm still the same person. And it's a valuable thing that we humans can do, to look back and reflect, because we have an ability to choose what we keep with ourselves. And one other valuable thing then that is kind of like unique to humans is this ability to grasp this world of ideas, maybe a platonic world of ideas, for example, and kind of like reach in there and make your ideas concrete. Try to make something concrete out of that vision that you had. So those are some things that I want to focus on from now on. Because when I got here, I feel like my body is changing and my mind too. And I'm able to look back and see what went wrong and what I did right. And try to find the good from all of those things. And stick with the good stuff. Rather than taking part in the fight between good and evil, I want to focus on making more good. Go to that world of ideas and choose to stay on the good and just bring that to the world. Because eventually light overcomes the shadow, and the shadow is just the absence of light. These are my thoughts today. I'm very happy to be back on this channel, and I hope that I will be able to stick with this mindset and see what happens from that. Even though I had a very demanding work week, I still have had energy to do these videos and go to the woods and do other stuff, see my friends, and it really feels good to me. And being able to see past my own misery, in a way. Being very self-reflective can make you a little bit blindsided to the people around you. And I gotta say that I have had my moments of lacking empathy, just because I've been focusing on myself so much. So that's one thing I want to work on in the future. Try to be good to others as well. I feel like I've always been not bad, but I want to be better. So I wish you all a very good evening, morning, whatever time you're watching this. And I see you in the next video. Bye bye. And remember, you are loved and you are important and you matter.